related. They just punished me for posting about my while DoorDashing. They just fired me.
Crazy.
And the police are doing nothing.
Unhinged.
I lost my job. And that was my only way to make money to pay my bills.
Her public defender challenging the prosecution's narrative. She invaded her victim's privacy.
Oh, yeah, she's losing.
An argument he's asking the judge to rule on.
Not
Well,
grimace.
it is reasonable to expect for most people that you have privacy. If you do something to not have privacy, then you no longer have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
You already know it's a fantastic day in the neighborhood when your dumbass actions finally have consequences. Guys, we're going to give you an update today on the DoorDash girl because her nightmare is about to reach its final conclusion, its final chapter, and shall be yet another example, shout out to Rhoda the Brick-Faced Osmond, that your dumbass actions have consequences. So we're going to go to the most reliable source for this case, Atozi, and this young brother actually attended the first hearing, if you remember that video from a little while back. So we're going to go over there to get reacclimated to this entire situation to find out what happens when harpies, such as this DoorDash clown, finally face justice. Without further ado,
the TikTok DoorDash girl filmed a naked man passed out inside his own home and then posted it for nearly 30 million people to see.
Crazy.
And then claimed that she was the victim. So naturally, she got hit with 2 felony charges. And after months of failed plea negotiations, she has decided to fight this thing in front of a jury.
This is related. They just punished me for posting about my while DoorDashing. They just fired me.
Crazy.
And the police are doing nothing.
Unhinged.
I lost my job. And that was my only way to make money to pay my bills.
Good.
Now, if you watched my last video on this case, you would know that we've been waiting forever for something to actually happen in this case. I literally flew to Oswego, New York to watch Olivia Henderson appear in court, only to just, get there, see everyone. I saw her there. And then everything got postponed. Or well, it wasn't technically postponed because it got moved up to county court. So essentially, I just had to pack up my bags, go home, and waited. Then she got indicted months later. And now, after even more months of court dates and motions, and I guess trying to work things out behind the scenes, we finally know what's going on because Olivia Henderson is preparing to go to trial.
The internet can't seem to get enough of the criminal case of Olivia Henderson,
like Esmeralda.
the now former DoorDash driver.
Look at this
on
witch.
TikTok, claiming she was harassed by a customer, naked, asleep on his couch, when she delivered his order last year. But then police charged her because she recorded him and posted the video.
So she appeared in Oswego County.
You know what's crazy is that if this was at the height of the Me Too movement, she would have been heralded as a hero. They would have had an Olivia parade for her braveness and strength through adversity and all this other bullshit. They never would have took a second look at this case.
Court again on July 31st, and Olivia and prosecutors have failed to reach a plea agreement, which is pretty big because remember, what she's accused of doing here back in October 2025, Olivia was delivering a DoorDash order when she arrived at a customer's house, and according to her, she found the door open. And inside was a dude passed out on his couch naked from the waist down. Police later said that he was drunk, unconscious, and incapacitated. So Olivia recorded him from the outside of the apartment and posted the footage to TikTok, where it absolutely exploded.
With his twig and
We're
berries
talking
out.
30 million views. I mean, that is a lot of people seeing a passed out dude naked. That is not ideal, especially because obviously this was without his consent.
Right.
Then she also claimed that the man had intentionally exposed himself to her and said that she had been assaulted.
Wow.
The woman who recorded a man without his permission while he was unconscious claimed that she was assaulted by said unconscious man.
Ironic.
Something's not adding up here.
Right.
Regardless, police investigated this and said they found no evidence that an assault actually occurred. So they said there was no physical contact, and their investigation concluded that the man had been unconscious on his couch because of alcohol. And last time I checked, it's not illegal to pass out drunk on your own sofa. It is very unfortunate that the dude managed to leave his door open though.
Yeah.
Regardless though,
and I believe he also had a video cam or like a CCTV something, doorbell, ring cam. That's why I keep on telling you guys, put cameras in y'all goddamn cribs, because you just never know. Many of these weirdos suffer from what I'm going to call, faux patriarchy syndrome, where there's this idea of oppression or patriarchy within one of the freest countries within the world, and many of these victim-minded young loser women will blame men for everything that goes wrong in and around them. Now, I just made that term up, but I think that it really needs to be studied. If you take a look at the numbers of the amount of hate that Gen Z women have towards men. It is some of the worst numbers I have ever seen, but their childhoods, their development years have been clouded by some of the strongest pushes and movements of the feminist propaganda machine. That's why so many of them choose the bear over the man, and that's how you can get this woman who probably in her crazy ass mind thought that she was being assaulted. Meanwhile, the irony is she assaulted him by posting my man's unmentionables to 30 million people up on TikTok while claiming, I'm the victim. Crazy. Last month, my Facebook page alone generated over $13,000. That number is so ridiculous. Why? Because I did absolutely no work in order to achieve that. But I put systems in play to earn that revenue. Now, there's a very important definition here. It's called resting revenue rate. How much money do you earn in a month at rest, not doing a damn thing? Because at least on my Facebook page alone, it's $13,000. Now, what's also crazy about that is I'm not a Facebooker. I'm a YouTuber. Majority of my money comes from YouTube and as well as ad sponsorships. The Facebook stuff is just the icing on the cake. But just the icing on the cake alone, I'm financially independent because it damn sure don't cost me $13,000 a month to live. Come copy my system of how I earn between $50,000 and $100,000 each and every month. Go to viral2value.com to pick up my curriculum and join my community where we also do live calls, Q&As, to answer all of your guys' questions on your content creation journey.
The man wasn't charged, Olivia was. And she's now facing 2 felony charges, second-degree unlawful surveillance and first-degree dissemination of an unlawful surveillance image. So this is the act of filming him and then the act of posting these videos on TikTok. But here's where this update gets really interesting because for months, I mean, one of my biggest questions was, how do you defend this? Because, you know, she filmed it and she posted it. That's what she's being charged for. Well, I would think this would be case closed because there isn't too much mystery about it. And apparently her own attorney also agrees with that part. So her public defender, David Smallwood, told News Channel 9, I think there's very little argument on what the evidence actually is, on what actually happened.
Her public defender challenging the prosecution's narrative, she invaded her victim's privacy.
She's losing.
An argument he's asking the judge to rule on.
Not
Well,
grimace.
it is reasonable to expect for most people that you have privacy. If you do something to not have privacy, then you no longer have a reasonable expectation of privacy.
Emphasizing it was the customer who left the solid door open with just the glass door as the barrier to his home.
And that seems to be the argument they're preparing.
I'm just so sorry. Are we actually going to pretend like the big back young man has never come home with a belly like that after a night of drinking and maybe left a door or something like that open? Just because you leave the door open doesn't then mean someone can come in, take a look, take a photo, upload it to the internet, and act like you are assaulting her. Not just any assault, but as assault, which has the potential of ruining this guy's life. She got his home on tape. You can see his face on tape. People in his life would recognize him. That could destroy his working relationships, his family relationships, or if he's dating a young woman. Poor young lady dating him is like, oh my God, I'm dating a creep. Think about the real victims of S assault. They should be the most upset in regards to this because dumbass stories like this make people not believe even the real victims of it.
With just the glass door as the barrier to his home.
And that seems to be the argument they're preparing to take into court.
Wow.
They're not really fighting over whether Olivia filmed and posted the man. They're fighting over whether doing that actually meets the legal requirement of, you know, these felony charges. And I guess a huge part of this argument comes down to 2 questions. First, how much privacy can you legally expect from inside your home when your front door is open? And number 2, was this man's front door even open in the first place? Because Olivia's attorney is now leaning hard into that first question. Smallwood says the homeowner's door was left wide open, exposing him to the public. Basically, the defense appears to be arguing, yes, this man was inside his own home, but the door was wide open, so anyone could see him from the street. So essentially, if his door was wide open and someone standing outside could see him, that he still have reasonable expectation that no one would see or record him. And I guess that distinction matters because the unlawful surveillance charge involves recording someone at a place and time which that person has reasonable expectation of privacy. This isn't just like Olivia's attorney standing up there and going, well, what she did wasn't that bad. No, he's attacking the actual part that the prosecutors have to prove. I can at least understand the legal question they're raising. Like, if you're standing naked in front of a giant open window facing a crowded sidewalk, do you really think no one's gonna see you? But I guess that brings us to the second question. Because before we spend 10 minutes debating on what an open door does to your right to privacy, I would like to know whether this door was actually open or not.
Yeah.
Because Olivia is saying it wasn't. We had early reports saying that it was like open, but not fully open, and that she pushed it open. But the big problem with that is we haven't seen any proof that that was the case. All we really have is Olivia's side of the story, and obviously the video. So essentially,
but listen, I doubt that it was, but let's say that it was for argument's sake. The whole next step of her recording it, right? Like, she took a camera out of her pocket, turned it on, went to the camera app, stepped into the doorway, put the camera up into the air, recorded it at the perfect angle, and walked away while it's still on. And then after that, uploaded to TikTok with tags, with title and description, right? With probably a filter over it, right? There was several steps that were taken beyond just the crime that she alleges happened. And it's not even like he was standing in the door, you know, like slapping his dick on each side of his leg or doing the helicopter. He was unconscious, passed out on the couch. Now, she could have just gone to the police with him unconscious and did it that way, but no, she chose to upload it to a public placing platform, more than likely for profit, because she then went up on and was complaining about how TikTok is not going to give her a payout off of the reel.
Olivia has maintained that she arrived and found that door open, and some of the more recent reporting describes it that way too. The Oswego County News reported in June that the police said that she arrived to the customer's apartment and found the door open. But if you remember the original controversy, people were going frame by frame through the footage and were questioning whether that was actually what happened. Because you had a whole bunch of claims online, at least early on in the story, where people said the door wasn't wide open and that Olivia maybe pushed it further open herself before filming inside. And that obviously would be a very different situation, because obviously there's a massive difference between I walked up to this house and there was a naked man visible right there, or she walked up, the door was kind of open but not fully open, she kind of saw a glimpse of the guy and then pushed open. I don't know. There was also some early reporting alleging there was ring camera footage from a neighbor. So again, this will be really interesting to see if that's true or not. And right now, based on the reporting we have, I don't think we should pretend that the question has been completely settled. What we do know is that police said Olivia recorded the man from outside the apartment. We know Olivia says the front door was open. And now we also know that her attorney is arguing that the door was wide open and that this man gave up some reasonable expectation of privacy. But whether the evidence actually backs that up, I guess we'll see that in court. Because obviously, if the entire defense leans on the dude's door being wide open, hopefully nothing comes out that disproves that. But regardless, despite all of that, all the headlines are now saying Olivia Henderson is officially going to trial. And there will be one big hurdle before we actually get there, because her attorney is trying to get these charges thrown out. Wow. Smallwood has asked the judge to review the grand jury record and determine whether prosecutors gave enough evidence to actually support an indictment. And remember, this grand jury is the reason Olivia ended up in the county court in the first place. So back in May, prosecutors presented their evidence privately to a grand jury, and the grand jury voted to indict Olivia on both felony charges. And no, that doesn't mean they found her guilty. It means the prosecutors have cleared the hurdle necessary to move forward with the case. But now, Olivia's defense is challenging that indictment. And based on Smallwood's comments, we have a much better idea of why. He isn't really disputing the basic sequence of events. Again, he basically just said there's really no arguing what the evidence is, which is also kind of a wild sentence to hear from a defense attorney in a case like this, because, you know, that's been the point from the beginning. Like, at the end of the day here, we're not trying to figure out who held the camera and who posted these videos. Even Olivia herself has publicly talked about posting it and why she believes she was justified in doing so. So the legal fight is over whether those actions actually satisfies the crimes prosecutors were charging her with. And if the judge agrees with the defense, that they don't. So who knows? I mean, the charges could actually be dismissed at Olivia's next court date on September 9th. So technically, there is still a path that she might not get a trial at all. But if that challenge fails, we're going to court. Because the other huge update from this hearing is that Olivia and the prosecutors have failed to reach a plea agreement. And this is interesting to me because in my last video, I said a plea deal seemed like the most likely way this would all end. Apparently not, though. At least not so far. I
fighting
mean,
it.
we don't know exactly what was
Good.
offered during these negotiations, what Olivia would want to accept or not, or which side refused to budge. So I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know what's going on, but I am surprised a plea deal didn't happen. And the trial can happen as early as October if all this goes through. Although there is actually another unrelated trial affecting the court's schedule. So if that gets in the way, the trial would actually happen in January, which I think I was in Oswego in January of 2020 of this year. So if we actually don't go to trial for a full year after the first time I appeared, that would be crazy. Regardless, it was very
but normal.
cold there in January. I can confirm.
Yeah.
This would definitely be a very interesting case to be a juror on, though. Like, imagine the shock, not hearing about any of this, and you find out some woman did this on TikTok, and you're sitting here like, there's no way this is real, but it is. This is definitely a top 10 jury duty trial. The one that takes the cake is absolutely the TikTok psychic one, though. I mean, that must have been a full-on trip for everyone who was a juror on that case. But regardless, this is just a horror story of how some dude passed out drunk in his apartment and woke up the next morning with 30 million people having seen his junk. That's
so crazy.
not ideal. But there is
Right.
also another part of this that I don't want to get lost in the legal arguments. Like, even if Olivia could see this man from where she was standing, seeing someone and recording their naked body, that's two different things.
Yeah.
And recording it and then posting
And
it for nearly
posting is a
30 million
whole
people
other thing.
online to watch, that's a whole nother step as
Right.
well. And that's ultimately what the prosecutors are accusing her of doing. And this is also why I just think this whole situation is so crazy, and the way it's unfolding is just crazy as well. Olivia originally posted the video because she wanted, I guess, to warn other female delivery drivers
No,
and expose
she
what
wanted
she
money.
believed this man had done to her.
No.
But instead, police investigated her allegations, said they found no evidence that an assault occurred, and arrested her instead. And now prosecutors eventually secured a felony indictment. Now again, the plea negotiations have apparently gone nowhere. Her attorney is trying to knock out the indictment, and unless the judge agrees to dismiss these charges on September 9th, Olivia Henderson could be sitting in front of an Oswego County jury as early as October. So
Georgia.
this is how we went from a viral TikTok to an arrest and now to a grand jury indictment. Drop a like on this video if you want me to actually
And
fly.
let's be clear, okay? She went to TikTok for a couple of different reasons. Number one, she wanted the TikTok police to cast judgment on this man even before going to the real police, because she didn't go to the real police until after she posted it up on the TikTok. And also, she wanted that paper, baby. She wanted that cheddar. She wanted that cash. And listen, she said that her only job is of DoorDash. Now, I'm not sure how much money DoorDash folks actually make, but I'm going to assume it's someone from middle to low income. So she has a side gig, a side hustle where she's trying to get popping up on TikTok and is willing to get there by any means necessary, including fabricating or making up a story that just wasn't true. Clout and the money that you can get from clout is an insatiable hell of a drug for many of these young people. This was her shot at the top. This was her shot at notoriety, fame, money. But, we're just a couple of years removed from the whole Me Too movement. So now male-focused platforms have the opportunity and availability to take a look at some of these cases and to make the audience see things from a completely different perspective than what mainstream media or even what these TikTok liars will want you to believe. And hopefully they make this trial public as hell, because you already know we will be watching. I have a feeling that they won't, but if they do, holy moly. Shit, I may need to go up to Oswego. A lot of people don't know this. My grad school, I had an MBA from University of Rochester in upstate New York, Simon School of Business. And so I'm very familiar with upstate New York, too familiar. And I caught anxiety when I saw him and snow up there in January, because that's some of the damn worst winters you can ever experience, in the United States at least. I don't know. Your boy may have to take a trip back up into the tundra, all right, to report first and direct on the case. So anyway, guys, if and once convicted, I hope that she gets the entire book thrown at her and gets made an absolute example out of. Because I know if the genders were reversed in this situation, and if the guy was guilty of what she allegedly has done, they would throw the entire book at him. Y'all wanted equality. Well, that means equal treatment. And that means equal treatment if something goes wrong. That's what you call being held accountable. All right. Hey, guys, appreciate your time with me here today. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them down in the comment box down below. Shout out to Atozi for the fantastic update on the situation. And yeah, last but not least, ViralToValue.com. Guys, make sure that if you are interested in how it is that I do all of this, if you want to copy my system of how to become an online commentator, link down below for how you can copy my entire system. The things that I've learned over the past 8-ish years or so and then executed on has completely and utterly changed my life, especially from a financial perspective. But even above the money, it's lifestyle, baby. No more boss. Get to wake up pretty much when I want, and I work less hours now than what I did when I was full-time in corporate America. But nevertheless, I appreciate you guys. I love you guys. Stay safe out there. Protect yourself at all times, especially with cameras, baby. You got to get them cameras in your crib and around your space because you just never know. Think about it like an insurance policy to protect you from harpies. But I love you guys. See you soon. And as always, peace.
So, without further ado, MTR, cut through the BS like we in charge. No cap with the rappers like steel bars. I'm packing and rapping like here we are. Here we are. Mediocre tutorial reviews. Like, comment, share my views. Come up and I paid my dues. Big step in my black way shoes. MTR, he break it down, yeah, it's MTR. Check out the sound when it's MTR. No one put it down like it's MTR.